Obidike, Obidike, you shall go blind from today, and you shall know no morning or night. You will taste darkness.
He was born with a gift that brought light to others, but darkness to himself. Out of jealousy, his sight was taken from him. Yet, even in blindness, he saw what the world could not. This is the story of Obidike, the boy who saw the future. In the village of Umechi, the evening sun bled across the red earth of Umechi village. Palm trees swayed lazily, and the sound of pounding mortar echoed through the compounds. Smoke curled from thatched roofs as women sang old songs, their voices blending with the rhythm of the talking drum. In one of the quiet compounds near the stream lived Madu, a humble farmer, his wife Lolo, and their little son Obidake, the child who even from birth carried mystery in his eyes. He was born with calmness. His cries were soft, almost like whispers. Elders said the child's spirit was ancient, that he carried the gaze of the ancestors. From his cradle, Obidake could see, not like others did. No, he saw tomorrows before they came. When Obidake was just 2 years old, he clung to his mother's wrapper one morning and said, "Mama, bring another woman. Papa will bring another woman home soon." Lolo laughed, shaking her head. "What do you mean? Your father, he will not do such a thing. Your father loves me." But 2 moons later, it happened. Madu returned from the market with a new bride, Ineka, a woman whose beauty hid the darkness of her heart. From the moment Ineka stepped into that compound, peace vanished like smoke. She smiled at Lolo by day and whispered venom by night. "Madu, you treat that wife like a queen. What of me? Am I not your wife too?" Her jealousy festered like a wound that refused to heal. And when she bore a daughter, Oluchuku, her bitterness grew deeper. She wanted her child to be praised like Obidake, but the villagers only spoke of the boy who sees tomorrow. Obidake grew older. His gift became both a blessing and a curse. People came from distant villages seeking his visions. He would sit quietly under the Iroko tree, his eyes half closed, speaking of things that had not yet happened. His voice was calm, his tongue certain, and his words always came true. Even the great seer of the land once bowed to him, saying, "The child walks before his time. Do not harm him, for he is favored by the gods." But envy is like fire. It burns even the heart that holds it. One moonlit night, Ineka went to a dark corner of the village, to the hut of a forbidden woman, a spiritual mistress feared by all. "I want to dim the eyes of that boy. Let him stop seeing tomorrow," she whispered. The old woman's voice cracked. "The gods watch him. What you sow will find your root." But jealousy had made Ineka deaf to warnings. She took a calabash, filled it with the blood of a rooster, and spoke Obidake's name 7 times. By morning, Obidake's eyes clouded white. He could no longer see the world. His mother wept day and night. The villagers wailed, calling it abomination. Yet in his blindness, Obidake smiled. "Mama, I can no longer see faces, but I still see hearts." His blindness was only of the eyes. His spirit saw deeper than before. And it was in that blindness that fate brought love his way. One afternoon, as Obidake walked to the stream with his wooden staff humming softly, a young woman carrying a water pot stopped by the road. It was Princess Amarachi, daughter of the king of Umechi. She watched the blind boy as he walked, gentle, graceful, unafraid. His song floated through the air like wind through the trees. Something stirred in her. Days later, she returned to the same path, hoping to hear his song again. And there he was. "Who is there?" he asked softly, turning his head toward the sound. "It is I, Amarachi, princess of this land." "Oh, princess," he smiled faintly. "I cannot bow, but my heart greets you." From that day, she could not stop thinking about him. The princess began to visit often, bringing fruits, beads, and stories. She sat by his mother's hut and listened as Obidike spoke about the stars, the river, and his dreams. One evening, he said, "Princess, I saw something. A storm is coming to your father's house, but love will calm it if your heart stays pure." She didn't understand him then, but she felt the truth of his words. Love blossomed between them, but news of their secret meeting spread like fire. The king was furious. The queen wept. How can the princess marry a blind boy? What will the people say? Even Ineka, Obidake's stepmother, saw her chance. She went to the palace with lies dripping from her tongue. The king listened, and the war of hearts began. The drums beat slowly that evening. The sky was heavy with clouds. The wind carried whispers from unseen spirits. The village felt it. Something great and terrible was about to unfold inside the royal palace. The king paced back and forth, his golden staff striking the floor with anger. "I will not allow this madness," he thundered. "A blind boy, a mere villager. Does my daughter wish to bring shame to the throne?" The queen seated beside him wiped her tears. "My husband's, Amarachi's love is blind too. Perhaps the gods are teaching us a lesson." But the king slammed his staff again. "Enough! I will not have the princess defile the royal bloodline." Meanwhile, in a quiet hut by the stream, Obidake sat cross-legged before a small flame. His mother, Lolo, sat beside him, holding his hand. "My son," Lolo whispered, "I hear the king is angry. You must stay away from the princess." Obidake smiled faintly. "Mama, how do you stay away from your own destiny? Even if I close my eyes, which I already have, I still see her in my heart." His words were soft, but firm, the way only those blessed by the gods could speak. Far away, under a twisted rock tree, Ineka, the wicked stepmother, plotted with her daughter, Oluchuku. You will take what belongs to him," Ineka hissed. "You will win the princess's heart. The gods cannot bless two children from one house." Oluchuku, her beauty sharp as a blade, smirked. "Mama, let me handle her. People are weak. They only need a soft voice and a smile." But as she spoke, the wind shifted. The air grew cold. From the shadows, an old voice echoed. It was the great seer, the same man who had once warned them. "Woman, you walk on fire again. Did I not tell you the child is protected? The gods see all things." Ineka trembled. "Stay away, old man. My daughter deserves a place. You sow will return to you. Obidake's spirit is older than your envy. What you sow will return to you." He vanished into the darkness, leaving the two women shivering. Despite the king's orders, Princess Amarachi could not stay away. Each night, she left the palace quietly, her royal robe wrapped around her as she made her way through the forest path to the small hut by the stream. There, Obidake would sit waiting, blind but smiling as if he could see her. "Princess," he would whisper, "you came again." "How could I not?" she'd reply softly. "Your voice has become my path home." They spoke for hours about the stars, the kingdom, their dreams, and what it meant to love something the world forbids. Obidake sang for her songs that touched her soul. His voice carried sorrow and beauty like wind through ancient trees. Even though he could not see her, he felt her, the warmth of her hand, the trembling in her voice when she said his name, and slowly their love became a secret known to the gods alone. But peace does not stay long in a house touched by jealousy. One dark night, as thunder rolled across the skies, Ineka crept to Obidake's doorway with a pot of ashes, whispering strange incantations. She sprinkled the ashes on the threshold, muttering,
Let his love turn to dust. Let his heart forget her, forget her. But the gods of Umechi were watching. That very night, Obidike awoke from a dream, his heart pounding. He had seen fire, snakes, and blood, a dark shadow crawling towards him. "Mama," he whispered, "something evil walks tonight. I feel it." Lolo, frightened, held him close. At dawn, Obidake went to the stream, knelt, and dipped his fingers into the water. The ripples spoke back to him in whispers only he could hear. "The time of blindness is ending. The one who took your sight shall bear your burden soon." He wept silently, his tears mixing with the water. That night, while the world slept, Obidake sat before his small fire. He raised his hands to the heavens and called upon the gods who had blessed him from birth. "Chukuchu, you gave me sight beyond men's eyes. Restore to me what was taken in jealousy.
Let light return to its rightful owner." As he spoke, his heart trembled. The fire flared blue. His white eyes began to glow, and then he saw. For the first time in years, Obidake saw the world, the walls, the moon through the doorway. But as his eyes opened, somewhere else, a loud scream was heard. Oluchukwu fell to the ground holding her face. Her eyes had turned bright red, unlike Obidake's white eyes. She had gone blind. Nneka wailed, tearing her wrapper, running from one shrine to another. "Great seer, help me. My daughter cannot see." But the seer only shook his head. "Did I not warn you? The gods do not sleep. What you send into the world returns to your own home." Nneka collapsed to the ground crying. "Obidake has become chosen. He has cost us all." But the truth was simple. The gods had only restored balance. When Princess Amarachi heard that Obidake could see again, she rolled to his hut like a madwoman. She dismounted and ran to his door breathless. "Obidake! Obidake!" He stepped out, his eyes bright and filled with tears. "Amarachi, I can see you." They embraced, and for the first time, he looked into the eyes of the woman who had loved him through blindness and rejection. Even Lolo wept with joy. The villagers danced, singing praises to the gods. But peace is never complete when jealousy still breathes in the dark. Nneka, humiliated and desperate, went back to the shrine of the forbidden woman. "I will destroy him once and for all," she screamed. The old woman frowned. "You fool, do you not see? The child is now a vessel of the gods. You cannot fight what heaven has chosen." But Nneka's heart was hardened like stone. She began a new plan, one that would not only target Obidake's love, but his very soul. The full moon rose that night, big and red like fire. The wind was quiet, and even the animals kept silent. Something heavy was in the air. The village of Umechi was in trouble. The people were afraid. Their crops were dying. The river tasted bitter. Goats stopped giving birth. Every house was full of fear. The elders gathered to ask the great seer what was happening. The old man came with his staff, eyes white with age and wisdom. He stood before the king and said slowly, "This evil is not from men. It comes from the land itself. A sin of jealousy was done, and now the earth wants a sacrifice, a pure heart to bring peace again." Everyone became silent. They all knew who the seer was talking about. Obidake was sitting by the stream that morning, his feet in the water, when the elders came to him. He was calm, even with the trouble around him. "Obidake," one of them said, "the gods are hungry. The people need your help. What must be done?" Obidake stood, closed his eyes, and listened to the wind. After a long silence, he said softly, "The land bleeds because of jealousy. Someone used evil against me. To make peace, the gods ask for one who sees beyond, a willing heart, pure and kind. Only then would the curse end." Everyone understood what that meant. The sacrifice had to be him. Lolo cried. The villagers begged the gods to choose another way, but the seer said there was none. The gods had already chosen Obidake from birth. When Princess Amarachi heard of this, she ran to his side. She fell on her knees and held his hands tightly. "No, Obidake," she said, voice shaking. "You cannot do this. I will find another way. I will give up my crown, my kingdom, anything but you." Obidake smiled sadly. "Amarachi, you can give me the world, but some things are not yours to give. The gods gave me this gift for a reason. If I don't do this, many will suffer. I was born for this." He held her hands tighter. "Then I will go with you," she said. But Obidake shook his head gently. "No, my love, the gods ask for only one. You must leave. You must make sure my death is not in vain." That night before the sacrifice, they sat together by the fire. Amarachi's eyes were full of tears. "If you go," she whispered, "you take my heart with you." Obidake touched her face and said softly, "Then I will live inside your heart forever. Promise me you will not let sadness destroy you." She nodded, her chest heavy with pain. "I promise." The dawn of the sacrifice came, cold and heavy. The entire village gathered as Obidake walked barefoot to the sacred ground, dressed in white, his head crowned with small shells. The drums were slow. The elders formed a circle. The great seer lifted his staff. "Child of vision," he said, "do you give yourself freely to save your people?" Obidake took a deep breath. "I give myself. Let peace return." But just as the seer raised his hand to begin the final rite, a sudden whirlwind rose from the earth. The ground trembled, the sky darkened. A voice older than time echoed across the land. "Enough!" Everyone fell to the ground in fear. A bright column of light burst from the center of the circle, swirling around Obidake like a living flame. His feet lifted slightly above the earth. The voice continued. "The heart that gives without fear has already been received. No blood shall be shed for peace today." The light expanded, sweeping through the village like a warm wind. The bitterness in the river vanished. The fields turned green. Goats bleated as they gave birth. Everywhere life returned at once. The curse was broken without sacrifice. Obidake dropped gently back to the earth. He opened his eyes, shocked to find them glowing like soft gold. The seer knelt before him. "The gods have accepted your willingness, not your life. You are chosen, but not to die, to live." Princess Amarachi ran to him, crying and laughing at once as she threw herself into his arms. "You are alive," she sobbed. "I am," he whispered, holding her tightly. "I told you, destiny would not take me from you." Lolo collapsed to her knees, thanking the heavens. Even Odinaka, trembling with fear and shame, stepped forward. "Obidake, forgive me," she wept. Instead of anger, Obidake touched her shoulder gently. "Let jealousy die in your heart. That is forgiveness." Her tears fell freely. For 7 days, the village of Umechi rejoiced. Drums thundered, fires burned, and dancers filled the moonlit squares. The king, humbled by the miracle, called Obidake before the whole kingdom. "You saved us all," the king said. "I was blind in my pride. Forgive me. My daughter's heart was wiser than the throne." He placed Amarachi's hand in Obidake's. "From today, you shall marry with my blessing." Cheers rose like thunder. Obidake and Princess Amarachi married under the great Iroko tree where they first spoke. Their union became the pride of Umechi. Peace returned permanently. Ineka changed her ways and became a woman of kindness. Olochoku's blindness faded with time, lifted after her mother confessed her sins publicly. In time, Amarachi gave birth to twin boys, golden-eyed like their father. The villagers named them Chimanda and Obina. The great seer, now old and weak, smiled and said, "Light does not die, it only multiplies."